Welcome, everybody, to Chatting with the Comic Community, episode 92. That's right, guys. We are still doing it, even though we had to take a break from last week and that. So you're seeing this a week late. I do apologize to you guys out there that were expecting it and to my guest today. I've been having really bad internet issues with Bell Alliance, so blame them. Don't blame me. But without further ado, guys, we are here for Chatting with the Comic Community 92. My guest today is somebody that's been hitting the comic community hard, not only with like his comic knowledge, but he's also an artist. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. He's also gotten together with some other great prominent people from the comic community to, it's kind of like a council of sorts and that. So we'll talk about how he got into that. So without further ado, let's bring out my next guest. Let's bring out CBizzle. What's up, my friend? Thank you for joining me. I do apologize for because like I've said to most of my other guests, it's been tough to get you on here. We did talk like about a year and a half ago for you coming on here, and that was all scheduled and all ready to go. And then I was getting back to other guests and stuff. And when it came to recording with you, I was having internet issues. So I do apologize for having to reschedule a bunch with you, but I'm glad you made it today. And I'm glad I finally got the chance to talk to you, CBizzle.
Awesome. I'm glad I'm here. No worries. I didn't mind it. I was my schedule is pretty open throughout most of the week, so I didn't mind waiting to come on here. I'm just glad I'm here.
Yeah, man. So for the viewers at home that don't know a lot about you, give them a little rundown of who you are.
So a couple of years ago, I first started off on Facebook. Believe it or not, I used to shoot minor videos on there, discussing some of the books I picked up, some of the books I'm excited for, and a couple of guys in the community now, like Esfon and Durs. They both got me into, convinced me to start doing YouTube channels. So I did my first YouTube channel. It blew up. I had like over 300 views on that my first video. I had a great time doing it, so I kept up with it, and I've been having a great time ever since. I met a lot of great people in the community, and once again, like what you said, I did join what we call the Council of Comics, and it's been fun hanging out with them as well. I've been having a great time on YouTube, and I still post things on my other social medias like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not calling it X. I'm gonna call it Twitter. So that's about it.
That's fantastic, man. So you kind of told us a little bit about how you got into this community, which is great. We'll definitely get into that in just a little bit, but I always like to start this by asking my guests how they got into comic collecting / reading.
I got into comic collecting due to my father. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, he took a piece of napkin, and the first comic book character I ever seen was Batman, because that's who he drew with using a blue ink pen on a napkin. And so ever since then, I started wanting more comic book stuff. And he'll give me a few comic books here and there. And then my life changed with our family dynamic. My father was gone. Introduced my mom's a boyfriend who had a cousin who was real big into comic books, and he gave me a stack of comic books. And ever since then, it built up onto that as I got older and I had my own money and I could go out and get some comic books. Um, it was this one gentleman. It was a cyber cafe in downtown Detroit. That's where I'm from, born and raised in the city of Detroit. He had like a bunch of long boxes and he was selling comic books. Well, it came to the point where the cyber cafe was closing because the university decided they wanted their land back and it was going to tear down the cyber cafe and build like a huge welcoming center for the university. And he didn't want to lug all those long boxes, so he just gave them to us. Not sold, not sell. He just gave them to us. So that's how I got a large amount of my collection from him.
And you still have it to this day?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you see over the shoulder here, those boxes, the long boxes with the labels, those were his. these two right here, and there's probably another one right there. So a lot of these long boxes are like not a lot. I would say about a good number of them came from him, and I just kept adding on, adding on. Like literally right now, I got about like maybe 40 long boxes behind me.
So was it Batman that really pushed you? Like, was it that the character that you really gravitated towards, or was it other characters that you really started to get more of throughout the
Oh,
years?
Batman was just the introduction, but the one that made me stick with it was the X Men. I really love the X Men. I grew up in the '90s. Um, Most of my teenage years was in the '90s. Well, not most. I say about a good number of it, and I really enjoyed the X Men. And plus, you had, on top of that, you had the X Men cartoon, the X Men toys, the X Men video game on the Sega Genesis, things of that nature that kept me in that world. And even to this day, I still collect X Men, even the newer books of X Men.
I want to say, like, I know that there was like other, like a lot of people say like the 80s was a great year for cartoons, a great
Hmm.
decade for cartoons, but the 90s was like a decade for superheroes. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of people got into it just because of the fact that like the Spider-Man show, the X-Men show, the Batman
Hmm.
the animated series, Superman Adventures, all of these
Hmm.
shows were there. And you mentioned too, like all of these games as well
Hmm.
had incorporated superheroes. So like the 90s was like the era of superheroes for sure. Of course, we're living in the superhero era now with all these movies, but the
Yeah,
90s really encapsulated it, I think.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So you fell in love with the X-Men and that
Hmm.
and expanded from there, or you've been just a strict X-Men, like because like I know the X-Men is a feat. There's a lot of X-Men comics out there, even in the 90s, even to
Hmm.
today. It's really hard to keep track of all of them. So have you gravitated towards any other comics besides the X-Men?
Oh, absolutely. I have a very extensive collection. I stopped collecting honestly back in 2000 and from 2004, I think, and I didn't start collect really hardcore collecting again until 2011. So I took quite a bit of years off of it, and yes, it was because of a woman. Um, Most of my finances went to dating, um, and I missed out on and I was so stupid. It was one of my biggest collecting regrets. I don't know if that's gonna be one of your questions, but it's I have one of my biggest collecting regrets of not picking up Ultimate Fallout #4, the first appearance of Miles. Yeah, and bad part is I had an opportunity to get it for cover price, and I was like, nah, I don't need that right now. I get it later, and I'm still hunting for it, to this day. So,
Yeah,
um,
you'll never get it for that price that was covered.
no, no, not unless I go to a garage sale and that person don't know what they have. That's the only way I'm getting it, or reprint or facsimile. Um, but I expanded my when I went back to collecting. I still started off with the House of M when I got back into collecting, and then I branched off to the Blackest Night. That The Blackest Night event is what got me into collecting DC books. I was mainly a Marvel person. Majority of my collection is still Marvel, but Blackest Night made me a huge fan. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. Um, I got a bag over here. Oh yeah, so I got a bag over here with nothing but rings,
Oh, nice.
different rings. So and it's always sitting right there just in case I want to pull them out, just in case I want to feel angry or if I feel hopeful, things of that nature. And then 2021 is when I started collecting independent books. So after COVID, I was always big, so okay, I'm just gonna stick with Marvel and DC. I'm not gonna bother with the independents. And then I started collecting independent books, and I was like, oh, I truly am missing out on a lot of good stories. And one of the ones is like Noctera was an awesome book. Basculus was another awesome book. I was real late, not real late. well, you can consider real late on something killing the children. I didn't start collecting that till issue 16, and I've been getting them ever since. And one of my favorite publishers, they're a little down now, but is Boom Studios. I liked a lot of the books they had came out with previously, but ever since the whole thing with Diamond, is there I haven't really, ventured off and getting many of their books. Mainly just, the Something Killing the Children books, and then they had a House of Slaughter that I normally collect. So yeah, I did venture out to other books as well.
Yeah, like I want to say like the 2021, like just at the tail end of 2020, that's really when the indie boom really started to happen. Boom
Hmm.
Studios, perfect name for them. It's like the boom of
Yeah.
indie and stuff.
Yeah.
I've never read Something is Killing the Children. I
Oh
have never
wow.
read it and stuff. Like there is a lot of great indie books. Like I don't know if you've ever read Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal from
No, I
AWA
haven't.
Upshot. It's by Garth Ennis. It's super funny and it's a
Yeah.
fun, and it came out around the same time as Loki and kind of had some of the same aspects of it. So it was real
Hmm.
fun watching Loki and reading this book of her jumping through time and then time police really chasing her down and
Oh
trying to stop her.
wow.
So it's fun and it's crude, of course, with Garth Ennis. But
True.
and also, I have never, being a big DC guy, and I do want to read it because I've never been a big Green Lantern guy.
Hmm.
Green Lantern's never really like I've watched the movie, watched the cartoon.
Hmm.
I never really went towards him that much, except for like the Justice League cartoon with John Stewart.
Yes.
Um, so I never read Blackest Night.
Oh
So that's a
wow.
book that I need to read.
Yeah.
It's on my list and stuff. I've tried to track down like a decently priced trades for it, but I can't find it.
Hmm.
It's not at my library. So I
Hmm.
do pick up trades and that, and I do like to read. So eventually I will get to the Blackest Night, Darkest Days.
I'm hoping that DC, you know how they start doing those little small compact books. I'm hoping that DC will make a Black Knight version of that so I can have it. Because I do go back and read the floppy sometimes, but I would love just to have all of it right then and there. That I don't have to dig
Mhm.
these boxes behind me.
Or one of those DC Finest, like I have the DC
Yeah,
Finest here and stuff. Like they can
yeah.
have like a completed series of that. Um, but we talked a little bit at the start about cartoons. You talked about X
Hmm.
Men '97
Hmm.
and that. I do want to talk to you about cartoons that really shaped you and some cartoons that you might have continued to watch to today.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah.
So one of the cartoons that really shaped me was Transformers. Growing up, I watched the Transformers. The movie was the first time I actually cried because of a show. It's not the last, but it was the first. When Optimus Prime died, spoiler alert for everybody that's watching. Um, but when he died, it really affected me because that was like the first time I've seen one of my favorite characters die in any form. Of course, like new kids, you play with the toys, but they always come back. But this time, as it really shocked me as a kid. GI Joe, another one, was a great. I used to watch that all the time. A show that not many people talk about is called Cops. It's basically like super cops with like superpowers. You have Bulletproof. That's what he's bulletproof. I love that show growing up. Silverhawks. A lot of these cartoons I watched in the 80s. Voltron, that's pre Power Rangers. So these are shows that I watched as a kid, and I really enjoyed them.
Are you liking the fact that they're coming back into comic form as well? Like with the I guess Dynamite's taking some, and then there's some that are else. Like has Silverhawks has come back, right?
Yes,
In comic form.
Silverhawks has come back. Yeah, I have the first issue of Silverhawks. It was okay, but the other books like Transformers, I've been reading from Skybound Image. I have not been collecting. Surprising to everybody, but that's one part of the Energon universe I haven't collected was GI Joe. I have not collected or read any of those. Only reason I read Transformers because I'm a huge fan of Daniel Warren Johnson. And I will still stick with Transformers, even though he's not going to be writing anymore after issue 24. But I'm still going to continue on with it because I've been enjoying the storyline that he created. So I want to see whoever's I forgot who's the next writer for it.
Robert Kirkman.
Well, Kirkman, yeah. So I want to see what he does with the story moving forward.
And it's going to be art by Dan Mora. And I looked at the cover
Hmm.
for 25, and they're going with the
Hmm.
A cover is going to be straight up David Nakayama. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just like that cover is fire, man.
I already have that in my pull list, ready to go.
So what other cartoons like because I can name cartoons like of course the 90s ones we've mentioned
Mhm.
Spider-Man, X-Men and that. But as we got older, like that's why a lot of my youth and how I was brought up was DC because of Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited, Teen
Yes.
Titans and stuff. As I got older and like Young Justice and that. So what other cartoons that were kind of comic related that really caught your attention growing up?
So I'm gonna say this, and you brought them up. I wish you didn't bring it up. The Teen Titans and Young Justice. I was so pissed that they ended that show. And then they
Mm-hmm.
said, "Oh, we're gonna give you our Teen Titans Go." I'm like, Teen Titans, no. I did not like that show whatsoever. Did it have some cute little musicals to go with it? I guess. But I wanted Teen Titans. I wanted Young Justice. They did bring them back, for a little bit, but it wasn't the same because you had that huge gap in between. But Teen Titans was really one of my favorite cartoons, comic book cartoons. Um, Back in the day, I used to watch Spawn when Spawn had his animated series. I enjoyed that immensely growing up. Of course, I had to watch it and not have my mom know I'm watching it because it it wasn't for young kids, so or probably barely teenagers. So that's one of the few comic book cartoons that I enjoy.
Now, did you read any Spawn growing up after like watching that and you found out, oh, there's Spawn comics, I'm gonna go pick them up?
I really briefly got it. So when during the time when Spawn was coming out, that's when my mother's boyfriend at the time gave me a stack of books, and the Spawn comics was one of them. And okay, so I'm gonna say something that's gonna probably piss a lot of people off. Uh, I used to cut my comic books up and like play with them like they were toys because I couldn't afford it. Where I was living at, we couldn't in our situation. I couldn't afford toys, so I would cut the comic books out. So I did have Spawn number one, but I cut cut Spawn out of it and play with him like a toy. It took me about 30 years, roughly, to get Spawn number one back again in my collection. Thank you, Scotty. So, um, yeah, yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid. So don't at me. I did the same thing with Transformers. Um,
Man, can't get
uh,
mad at a kid. You were a kid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the comic guys punished me with Transformers because I would cut them out and then I would cut them out in sections. So then I would staple them, like staple their arms so I could look like they're transforming. But this one particular time, it was Optimus Prime, and I accidentally stapled into my thumb. And my father at the time, he came over. This is why I tell people about generations. This is like 80s, early mid 80s. Parents, they like there's no filter. So what he did was he grabbed my thumb with one hand and grabbed the staple and just yanked it out. And of course I started crying. He said, "You'll be all right." And eventually I was. But yeah, the comic guys pay me back for cutting up that comic book.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? Here we go. Staple in the thumb. So I do have to bring up because you say you're a huge Transformers fan. I always talk about
Mhm.
movies and that I always try to say like the movies that defined you, but I'm going to skip past that and go to that a little later because I want to talk to you about the Transformers movies. I
Mhm.
know it's hit or miss with some people. Some people love them. Like I know I have friends that really enjoy those movies, and that's fine. Um, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on all of the Transformers movies, even the animated ones that have come out from the first, the one that made you cry, to the one that is new with Chris Hemsworth.
Okay. Yeah. So I Michael Bay's Transformers, I wasn't one of those people that crapped on it. I was basically middle of the road type of thing. I was like, well, I mean, it was still entertaining to me. I did enjoy them. It wasn't my Transformers per se, but I was okay with it as far as like the baseline of those movies. Um, as far as like cartoons go, um, Transformers with Chris Hemsworth, I actually really enjoyed that. I That was amazing to me. That I said, oh, that's my Transformers, and I haven't yet watched. Was it Bumblebee?
Yeah,
The movie. I have not watched that yet, but I heard that's more of the old school style type of Transformers. But I'm not gonna crap on Michael Bay's Transformers at all. Like you said, it's an acquired taste, I guess. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm right in the middle. I just accept it for what it is, and if it's entertaining, I'm gonna keep watching it.
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I loved Bumblebee. Bumblebee was great, and of course, Rise of the Beast when it came out, I was pumped for because my
Yes,
generation, I grew up with Beast Wars. That was my
yes,
Transformers, and that just because of the era I grew up on. So I absolutely love seeing those characters get the screen. Was it the best? No, I would have actually went back in time and had it do the story that I grew up with, but I'm happy with the results that it came with.
yes.
So
I agree. And Beast Wars was a great show, by the way. It was different than your average Transformers at that time, but I still enjoyed it.
so now we'll get into the movies that defined you growing up, and that like what movies like because I grew up. I'll say like I grew up with a lot of Disney, a lot of Disney
Hmm.
movies. Loved watching those, and didn't get into like more adult themed movies until my teenager until I was like in my teens and I started watching American Pie and all that stuff. So I'm kind of curious though, what kind of movies really defined you as a person? What movies do you continue to go back to watch? Because I know you're a huge horror fan. I know speaking to you previously and that you do a lot of things for somebody that does a lot of horror podcasts. So
Yeah. So, strange enough, I wouldn't say this. The truth is, I do not care for horror films.
ooh,
Believe it or not. I Before I started dating my fiance, I did not really look. Like I'm not invested in trying to watch something that scares me. Or makes me have a jump scare. That when I started dating her, and she does the horror podcast. I'm her editor on her horror podcast, and I eventually just start watching them with her because sometimes she wants me on the show with her. So that way I had to explain the movie as well, so I had to watch those movies. But growing up, my movies were the '80s movies like E.T., The Goonies, a lot of adventure type movies. I was a huge action movie fan, so stuff like Commando, Rambo, Die Hard, which it is a Christmas movie. I don't care what nobody says. I'm looking at you,
I
Grinch
I
guy.
will I will fight you with it. It's not a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. See, I don't care what nobody says. That's a hill I would die on. And Wesley Snipes also a lot of his action movies. We just talked about Passenger 57 on our show. We're gonna be talking about Demolition Man, which so happens to be my favorite movie of all time. I could watch that movie over and over and over and again. But one of my favorite franchises will be and forever will be Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I know how you feel about Lord of the Rings. It's my favorite franchise of all time. That's the one movie I could literally any weekend pop it in and watch that and The Hobbit. I could watch over and over again. Strange enough, I could watch Lord of the Rings, but I cannot watch Game of Thrones.
Whoa. Okay. All right. What is up with that? Like, I get Game of Thrones kind of like its quality diminished like as the seasons progressed, but still, Game of Thrones is freaking amazing.
You know when I stopped watching Game of Thrones, it goes back to what I said about Optimus Prime. When I first started watching Game of Thrones, Ned Stark was my favorite character. And then what happened to him, I was like, is this how this show's gonna go?
Yeah,
I'm
but
out.
but you should have known that walking into it because that actor dies in everything he's in.
I know he's in the Lord of the Rings, but I was like, maybe this be the one that he actually lives through. You know, maybe he might pull a Bill Paxton. Like, Bill Paxton, he died of so many other movies, but he lived through the Twister. So I thought this was gonna be the same thing. Like, hey, you know, maybe he'll live through this Game of Thrones, and but then when he got, taken out, I stopped watching.
That was
I'm
that
sorry,
was
Tia.
that, yeah, that was like the first season.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's what
It's
I
like
put
I'm
up. It's
done.
out.
I'm done.
I'm
It's
done.
like, and there was
No,
better seasons. There was so much better seasons too. Like there was like
yeah,
I know like the eighth season gets a lot of hate, but there was I think it was what was it the third season with the Red Wedding? I think the third
yes,
season was the Red Wedding, and that like that was just great.
yeah.
There's been other things. Oh man, you definitely should go back and watch Game of Thrones. Like everybody in the chat right now, hit him up. Like the links are down below. Hit him up and tell him he has to watch Game of Thrones. Like I will take the hate for not liking Lord of the Rings,
And
but yeah.
also during that time, I was watching The Walking Dead, and that had the same feel of it. But the only difference is between the Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. With The Walking Dead, I read the comics first, so I knew
Mm,
what's going to happen. I knew, even though it didn't follow the comics like verbatim, but I kind of knew. I was like, okay, this person might not make it. You know,
mhm.
Daryl, like somebody like Daryl, was never in the comics. So I was like, okay, so I don't know if he's gonna make it or not, but I knew Rick was gonna make it for a while. Um, I knew certain things that they couldn't do that they did in the comic, they couldn't do on the show, like what happened to Michonne and the governor. That cannot
Mhm.
that cannot be on television whatsoever. They would get boycotted in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it was easy. Like they did switch up the characters who died and who was like, but
Yeah.
they had the same kind of storyline on the show. They'd be like, okay,
Hmm.
well, that character was Glenn on there, but this character is playing that character. So okay, that's where they're going with that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people gave up on that show right after Carl died. But like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's when it really gets good with the whispers,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
You can't have it.
Yes. Yes. And what I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they decided to go a different direction than the comic books, because it gets you more interested in the show itself. Because if they just did do like what they did with Sin City, you know, verbatim, then people would just be like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I don't even need to watch it. It's those moments like when Negan came out. I knew what's going to happen. I knew what type of person Negan was. I had gotten that same feeling during Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame, when with Thanos was when he snapped his fingers. I was like, oh, and I heard crying in the crowd. I was like, oh, my poor babies. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I knew this was gonna happen. And when they brought them back, I was like, told y'all.
You knew it.
So
You were like, I'm
I
a
knew it.
comic reader. I know this stuff, guys.
Yes.
So I'm so kind of surprised. I thought you were really into horror. I know we've talked a little bit about that in the
Mhm.
past about how you did you do the editing for that, but like has your
Mhm.
stance on horror like because horror like always has subgenres. Like you have horror comedy, horror slasher,
Mhm.
horror porn, kind of like it's just like
Mhm.
it's gore porn for
Mhm.
like Saw and Terrifier, which I'll never watch those movies. Um, but like,
I'm with you.
are you into any type of horror at all?
Yes. So, horror has grown on me over this past because me and my fiance, we've been together for over 16 years,
Oh,
and yeah, we've thank you, and we've watched a lot of horror film together. Some of my favorite horror. This is even before I started dating her. So I was like deep in the horror. Like I wasn't really into the slashers until I started dating her. But horror sci-fi with like aliens. I love the Aliens franchise. Uh, so much. I love the horror comedy with is it Shaun of the Dead? I'm thinking that's what it is.
yeah, it's Shaun of the Dead with Nick Frost and
Yes.
forget the other guy's name.
Yeah. So I love that and stuff like that. And with horror, I like the zombie genre. So like The Walking Dead, Shaun of the Dead, 28 Days Later, um, things of that nature. So you like the 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 zombies in like Night of the Living Dead. I like those zombies. Like I like the Walking Dead zombies. Like if I'm in a world with those zombies, I'm cool, cool. But
Yeah,
28 weeks later, nah, I'm not making that one. But
they
those
come
are the type of
running at
films,
you like ah.
right? Yeah, like I'm fat. I'm not about to sit up here outrun those type of zombies. But those are two main ones. Like the zombie horror and the sci-fi horror. There's also another horror that I like. I don't really most people don't consider it horror, but I'll be horrified if this happens. Those world disaster type horror films. You know, like the world is ending. Those type of films. They're not normally categorized as horror movies, but I would think something like 28. With no, not what is that one? The Day After Tomorrow, something like that. If that happened, that'd be horrific to me. You know, like the whole part of the northern part of the world just goes to an ice age. Yeah, that's horrifying.
It's more of like the things. It's like, oh, this can actually happen. This is more
Right,
likely to happen than like a werewolf attacking me. So,
right.
yeah, I'm more into like the psychological type of horror. Like I'm not into gore. I'm not like
Mhm.
into people watching people get tore apart. But like I do
Yeah.
like some slashers. I do like Nightmare on Elm Street, one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Chucky, Child's Play, another one of my
Mhm.
favorites, and then Scream. But like I do like the psychological ones, like Identity with John
Mhm.
Cusack and stuff like that. So, but you've watched quite a few movies just by doing the editing and
Mhm.
being a part of the crew that you're a part of that we'll talk about a little later. So like
Yeah.
you've and I love the fact that you are a true nerd. Like you could tell
Yeah.
just the way that you talk about things that you get giddy. You get giddy
Yeah.
while talking
Yeah.
about stuff, and I love seeing that, man.
Yeah. One of the slashers that actually grew on me, um, it's wild. It's a wild, and it's a franchise, believe it or not, and it's called Hatchet. It is a wild, like it's literally like they're in the swamp, and this creature is about the size of Jason, and I don't think you will like it because it's a lot of gore, like a
Mhm.
lot of gore. I'd rather watch that than a movie called Hostel, because Hostel could actually happen, you know. Whereas Hatchet was like this mystical entity that can't be killed, you know. So that's the difference between me and some of the horror genres.
Yeah, it's yeah, it definitely it makes you feel it definitely rises your anxiety when you're like
Mhm.
that can happen. Like I
Yeah,
don't want to see that because like now I'm
no,
thinking that person walking by me is just going to kidnap me.
right, right.
Like for no reason at all. Like he looks fine. He's wearing a suit and everything, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, oh my god, that little kid looked at me weird.
Oh yeah, I don't do well with kids in horror films. Like I'm good because I will punt a horror kid like like it ain't nothing. I don't have no these hands are eat for everybody. You know, mm-mm. Don't be a horror kid because you will get punched.
You'll definitely get punched.
Yes.
So moving away from that, we talked a little bit about it. You really talked about it at the start, about how you got into this community, which is fun because when talking to people, you always have different stories and
Mhm.
different groups that came in at a time. Like I'm considered one of the COVID crew, the people that came
Mhm.
in at the COVID time because that's literally when I came in to this
Mhm.
community. A lot of people have left from that. I came in around 2018, which is, I guess, around that time. And
Mhm.
then a new kind of group that arose, like you had the Shorts crew, but then you had the Facebook crew,
Mhm.
which is surprising to me that because a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore. Um, and but there's a lot of groups on there, a lot of
Mhm.
Facebook groups with a lot of comic collectors and that have come together and made the transfer from Facebook to YouTube. So I want to hear a more elaborated story about how that all came, because you mentioned how Scotty Vaughn and Durs was one of those too, but there's probably
Mhm.
more, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was one. There was oh my god. Oh, he gonna kill me because I can't think of his name. I got his face. He does a show every Wednesday for Bags and Boards. I can't think of his name, and I do
Oh,
apologize to you immensely.
Trev.
Trev. Yes, thank you. Trev. Sorry, Trev. I was ship you something as an apology. Um, so we all started off in Mike the Spider Slayer's group. That's where most of us came from, and we it was like I said, first thing I always did before I even started posting videos on there. It's not my group. So one of the first thing I did was I DM Mike the Spider Slayer. I said, hey, I'm new to the comic world. I want to show off some books I have. Is it okay? And he thanked me very much that I actually, instead of just posting it with randomly, that I went to him, and he was very super nice. He's an awesome person in the community. I am subscribed to his YouTube channel as well. And after that, I started posting in there, and that's when Scotty Vaughn and they would DM me, or they would tell me, like I would jump in their chat, and they say you need to come over to YouTube, this, that, and other. And Scotty Vaughn really was the main one pushing me to get into YouTube, and I decided, it's okay, you know what, I'll do it. I'll start with this YouTube, and like I said, it blew up, and I've been several people. There's several people in the community that I watched before I ever did anything on social media. DJ Links is one of them. I used to watch him years ago, and always like when I first talked to him as like as another creator, I was still like one of those, like if you meet your like the guys before you, the stars before you. He was one of them. Mike Spider Slayer was another one. Like I said, I mentioned before, when I meet these guys on this platform and have me like how me and you doing right now, and I talk to them, is amazing to me. Funny enough is, and crazy enough is, I've never met anybody in the comic community face to face.
Neither have
Okay.
I.
But that's how it came about, and they supported me. I supported them, and I still support them to this day. I'm super happy for Durs, what he's been doing of late with his whatnot, and working with I think it's Rupp Comics. So I'm super happy with him. I'm glad that he's doing great things. I'm super happy with Scotty, what he's doing with his channel. I really appreciate him and everything he does. And a lot of people, they giving me a chance to be a part of this community. So you yourself, Roscoe, he's always like, I've been on y'all show several times, um, and everybody else in this community has been amazing to me. So I appreciate them all.
So you really got your foot in the door. Did you really have any idea what kind of content that you're going to do, or what kind of content that you um, are doing now on your channel? Because you do a little bit of content on your channel. Of course, you do content with a group of other people, but I want to focus more on your channel itself. What kind of content do you do?
So right now, the main thing I'm doing is unboxing. So I will buy stuff off of Facebook. I will buy things off of eBay, and I like to show what I bought. I have a huge box behind me with like 40 comic books that I purchased off of Facebook not marketplace, but in different Facebook comic groups. I have a box coming next week. I bought all these books. I want to say 6 months ago, and the person I bought it from got in a car accident, so he had to go into physical therapy for several months, and I can't even tell you what's in that box. So I can't even for that to come in. And every time I do an unboxing, I do forget what I purchased because I will buy them. They're like $2 here, 50 cents here. I thought, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. I'll buy that, and then what y'all see in those unboxing videos is me genuinely surprised because I forgot what I purchased. So also what I'm gonna be doing on my channel, I have you can't see it because I don't want you to see it. I have a stack of books, and in January I put out a video showing 2025 books that's in my wish list or grail list. And some of these are just mini grails. And I got about 5 of them already. So I'm doing a video showing where I'm at so far, and some of the books that I want has been blown up because of the movies. Like Spectre 54, the first appearance of Mr. Terrific. I don't have that one. I'm trying to get it. I wish people would stop talking about it. I wish they talk about that character because y'all raising the price of the book. Same thing with Fantastic Four Annual #6, the first appearance. Everyone said, "Oh, that's the first appearance of Franklin Richards." I don't care about that. I don't care about that character whatsoever. I want it because it's the first appearance of Annihilus. I love that villain. Even though I don't really care for bugs too much and I kill them on a daily, I still like Annihilus as a character. I wish the MCU would utilize him better. And I keep hearing rumors that the Nova movie is going to have him in it. So I got to really, really, really hurry up and get that book because if I wait until they announce he's going to be in it, or if they have a trailer with him in it, it's over with for your boy. So
Yeah.
another thing I'm trying to do with my channel that's coming soon is I like to get in the history of some of these books. So I know said this for years, and I still have not done it yet. I actually completed it. It's sitting right behind me over there near Miles Morales. Is Aquaman and the Others. Is a 12-issue miniseries. Basically, Aquaman had his own Justice League, and I want to tell people about that story. I enjoyed reading it, and I want to tell people about it and other stories. Like I want to tell people when Guy Gardner became a Red Lantern, things of that nature. I have several books, several independent books I want to talk about. I want to talk about Mosley. I want to talk about Monarch. Like these are some great books I wish more people would talk about, and that's what my channel is about to be involved into going to more history of some of these books.
Yeah, do what you're passionate about, and people will see that you're passionate about it. Because, like I said, you ooze nerdness, so you can tell you're passionate about it. So, and that you really want to talk about it. So that would be great to
Yeah.
watch those, and I can't wait to see how you're going to do it. Like, do you have like a format that you're going to plan to do it, or how you want to edit it yet, or no?
I'm trying to find a website that actually have the pages in it for the books, so I can actually show inside pages of it. Yeah, I could probably scan it with my phone and edit it that way. But I want the actual pages, and then I can edit them, like getting rid of the wording in the bubbles, so that way you
Mhm.
still forced to get the actual book. Because I'm not gonna tell the story verbatim. It's gonna be very loose, so that way you still be able wanting to read that book and know those characters. I'm real big on universes. I love talking about universes, talking about how some of these characters the good versus evil, and sometimes good turns into evil, sometimes evil turns to good. I love talking about stories like that, and what I'm going to do is you're going to see my face through most of the not most of the video, but maybe at the beginning and the end. But for the most part, I want you guys to focus on the story and not me.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It's kind of like what I want to do with these DC finalists. I just want to talk about them
Hmm.
and then go through, because like a lot of the stories I have is the Superman stories are all Golden Age.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about Golden Age books and
Nope.
stuff. And I really want to talk about them. Like I haven't started reading any of these yet, and I have like a ton, as you could see.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of reading to do, and I got to force myself to do it. And what better way to do it than talk about it? Because that's what we're here about. Like that's what most of us came on YouTube to do, is to talk about things that we nerd out about and talk about things that we love and stuff, which
Absolutely.
brings me to how did you get together with a group of people that is a council, and that because like you weren't originally a member, you just
Mhm.
you kind of came in and that, and they welcomed you with open arms. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of curious to know how that all came about.
So first of all, I want to give all the props to Cliff on Comics. He invited me on his show. Um, he invited me to the show with the Council of Comics, and also want to give shout out to Sam, our producer, because he what he did was when I was a guest, I was only supposed to be there for a guest for that 1 week, and then said, "Hey, you think you can come back the next week?" I said, "Sure." I'm not doing nothing on a Monday, and then it evolved into, hey, can you come back next week? Can you come back this other week? Can you come back? Like it was continuous. I was there for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and then finally they was like, yeah, you're part of us now. So it's almost like I was like a homeless kitten, and they adopted me by putting milk in front of me, and I kept going to the milk. And they said, well, now this is your home, so you might as well just go ahead and stay here. And so I enjoy doing the show with all those guys, with Cliff, with Sam, with Green Shirt Guy, Phil, and we do a lot of different shows, and I appreciate them.
Yeah, it was definitely organic too. Like you guys just you came on there. They were like, "Oh, we can click with this guy. Like we can."
Hmm.
We have. I think DJ Links mentioned it before. Like they, um, I can't even think of the word now. Like chemistry. You guys have
Hmm.
chemistry together, and it really shows on screen. And you really rapport with each other, bounce off of each other, and it's
Hmm.
great. So I'm glad that you are were welcomed on with that show and stuff. I don't get to catch it all the time, but
Yeah.
I catch it. I usually catch it on the rewind for the most part, especially when you guys are reviewing movies. Like I like
Hmm.
that, so I can't wait for that to come back. I'm curious to know what you guys are going to do for Halloween.
Yeah,
'Cause that,
we're gonna try to do a couple of things for Halloween with different shows. I can't say nothing yet until we get everything finalized. But like I said, I always felt like myself as a plug and play type of person. You plug me in, and boom, I'm good. That's how I was playing sports. That's how I was when I was designing video games. So just plug me wherever you need to plug me in. I'm there.
all right. All right. So we're getting down to the last little bit. I do want to say I got one thing, kind of like it's a random question. That this person knows you're cool. He just wants to know how you become so cool. Like how are you so cool?
I'm not cool whatsoever. I don't know where anybody get that from. I'm just a guy who loves to read comic books, loves to eat food, loves his fiance and son. I don't consider myself cool whatsoever. I just consider myself, like I said, as an average dude, playing a dude that looks like another dude. So
I wasn't sure if I was going to add that in, but the person asked me to ask that. He probably asked me to do it jokingly, but I was like, I'm going to ask him anyway. I thought it was funny. Um, but I do want to know. We started with comics. We're going to end with comics. I want to know what you're reading and what you recommend. What kind of stories you kind of told people you absolutely love Blackest Night, um,
Mhm.
and you recommend that book. But I'm curious to know what you're reading currently and what you recommend people to go back and read.
Okay, so I'm reading a lot of books. I literally got a stack of books. These are books I just read. I got a whole stack of them over here that I'm trying to catch up. I'm slowly catching up. I'm only 4 weeks behind of reading. There's an event going on right now in Marvel called Imperial that I've been enjoying. It pissed me off. The first the first the first episode, the first issue pissed me off because it's basically a story of the correlation of everybody in space. Is that hey, Creed and Skrulls are working together with the what's his name the Star Lord and his family working together, and the Wakandas of the Empire of Wakanda working together, all try to work together. And then something happens. The Wakandas got set up for an assassination of Star Lord's dad, and everything breaks loose. And I was like, "Are y'all blaming Wakanda for this?" And so I read the second issue, and it turns out it wasn't. I can't spoiler alert. It wasn't the Wakandans. I'm not gonna tell you who it was, but it wasn't the Wakandans like I thought it wasn't. Thank you, Sherry. Phoenix. I'm reading Phoenix. That's been great. I highly recommend Storm. Her single book is awesome. Rat City is basically Spawn 2099. I've been enjoying that since the beginning. I really, really highly recommend that book. That's one of my favorite books. Feral, my God, Feral. Like I told you, I like zombie s movies. So Feral was up my alley. And
Yeah.
that book is phenomenal. Um, what other books? I'm reading so many different books right now. If I show you my pull list, you'd be like, how you not broke? Um, and I'm reading a lot
Especially.
of yeah, especially with the prices of books these days.
Yeah.
I'm there's been times I look at my old school books I got from the '80s, and the price was like $1 or $1.25. I was like, man, if the books was still that price right now, I wouldn't have no
Hmm.
room in this room for all the books I will buy. But those are really genuine. This more I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But those are generally the books I'm reading today, and I recommend them all.
I'm reading Feral too. Feral's fantastic.
It's
I
so
highly
good.
recommend it. Yeah, it is so good. And then books that you recommend, like storylines and that you
Mhm.
recommend.
The storyline, like I said previously, um, I will wait. I'm going to enjoy reading them. The new is an X-Men event coming up called Age of Revelations. It hasn't come out yet, but I'm going to recommend that because I think it's going to be fantastic. The books the storyline that's already out now that I recommend. What's going on in Green Lantern has been pretty good. I love what Jeremy Adams is doing. I just found out Jeremy Adams was writing both Green Lantern Corps, but Morgan Hampton is going to be taking over Green Lantern Corps. So hopefully that book still continues on to do what it needs to do. Um, I want to say the storyline. Oh, storyline. I got it. I remember now. Batman, Robin, the Memento storyline. It's been very well written. I love that storyline between. It's one of my favorite Batman books. No knock on Batman or Detective Comics; those have been great as well. I'm reading those as well. I read too many books, but the Batman Robin Memento is basically like Jack the Ripper that is now in today's society. And Batman and Robin, they having trust issues. Batman don't want him to go after this person because Batman dealt with this person before. One of those type of Batman stories. He dealt with this person before, and Batman knows he's super dangerous because he killed one of his mentors. So he thought. A spoiler alert. And Robin's like, no, I got this. I could solve this, and he actually does solve this case. And now Batman's trying to trust him, from this point on. And and it got to the point when Damian said, "I don't want to be Robin anymore," and he like throws away his did the whole Spider-Man uniform in the garbage can. type thing. I didn't want to be Robin anymore. But that changed near the end. But I ain't gonna get too much spoilers. But that's been one of my favorite storylines so far.
Oh, that's amazing. Who was the writer? Did you say the writer for that book?
The writer is, I want to say Philip Kennedy Johnson. I want to say no. Wait. Now you're gonna make me look it up. I'm gonna look it up. I'm looking. I got multiple. You know me. I got multiple screens. It is. It is. I need to just scroll. We good. We good. We good. I was right. Philip Kennedy Johnson.
There you
Check is in the
go.
mail.
Boom.
Yes. Yep. Philip Kennedy.
Well,
Philip Kennedy Johnson doing a great job on that book.
I'll have to check that one out and add it to my list of books to read. Philip Kenny Johnson doesn't disappoint. Like
Yes.
my introduction to Philip Kenny Johnson was when when Marvel started putting out the Alien books.
Yes.
I think that was back in 2020.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to Philip. So, and he isn't disappointed since. He's been on Action. He's doing a new Superman story soon.
He he's been doing an Incredible Hulk. That book has been phenomenal, and now they're coming out in October, October, either October or November. They changing the title from Incredible Hulk to Infernal Hulk, so it's supposed to be another storyline. Like I think he said, chapter 2 of this third 3 arc type of Hulk book.
Is he still going to be writing?
Yes, he's gonna be the writer. Yeah. Trust me, I looked. I was like, I'm on my phone, like, LCS. We might have to talk about dropping a book, but no, he's still on there.
All right. So yeah, I'll definitely. I've been reading. I got to go back and read some of that story, but what I did read, I think the first 5 issues of the Incredible Hulk by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and it is fire. Adding the horror aspect back into the story was a great idea.
Yes.
So, well, CBizzle, man, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, because you can lie to me and say that it's not busy, but look at all of these shows that you do, all of these people you hang out with, and that. So it is a busy. So I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and talk to me, to get us to know you a little bit more. I absolutely loved it, because, like I said, I will stick to that point. The point that I really liked about this little sit down was the fact that you can tell how much you love talking about nerdy shit. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on. The link to his Instagram, YouTube, and the Council of Comics YouTube is down below. Go give them a follow. Go give them a subscribe. Go check his channel, because, like he said, during this time, he has some stuff that he's working on that it will be coming up on the channel in the near future. So definitely check that out. CBizzle, do you have anything else to say before we go?
Hey, like you already said it for me. Make sure you like and subscribe, not just to my channel. Make sure y'all guys, if y'all watching this on a rewind, or if it's your first time watching TM Nerdy show, make sure you subscribe to his channel as well, and make sure you leave a like. Make sure you comment on his channel, because all that helps his channel out a lot.
I appreciate that, man. And as always, my friends, stay freaking